Hello everyone, my name is Trevor Ursulescu and I'm the owner of Monster Hobbies in High River, Alberta, Canada. Today I've had a little idea here. I'm going to try to do 8th edition versus Age of Sigmar. Now you guys are probably thinking this is going to be a video about how one is better than the other and how I'm going to sit here and explain all the points, but I have a better idea. I'm going to get a good friend of mine to play identical unit of Dwarf Thunderers in 8th edition, and I'm going to play a unit against him as in Age of Sigmar. Same unit, Dwarf Thunderers, Age of Sigmar, and my friend, who I'll introduce in a minute, will play 8th edition. So, here's my friend. Hi, I'm Trevor, owner of Monster Hobbies in High River, Alberta, Canada. I'm going to play 8th edition Dwarf Thunderers. So get ready, because here we go, playing myself. So here's our armies, 8th edition and Age of Sigmar, facing each other. So we zoom in on the 8th edition painted figures. They're painted because we've had them for 4 years, so we were able to paint them. Now these guys are in their block formation. And because they're in block formation, they have to have the command crew up front. Champion, standard bearer, musician. Standard bearer, champion. And they're all rank and file. Now, Thunderers, they shoot, front rank can shoot, back rank can shoot. Any ranks behind them have to stand there and not shoot. So this is a maximized movement tray. 20 models wide. Or 10 models wide, 20 models in total. Here's Age of Sigmar on this side. Both armies are a foot in from the table edge. These guys are stationed an inch apart from each other. We have a champion here, musician there, standard bearer there. It doesn't really matter where they go because it's this entire thing counts as a unit and doesn't have formations as rigid as in 8th edition. Here's what you needed to play 8th edition. You have your Dwarf Army Book, which was $59.50 Canadian and had lots of fluff and pictures and rules on how they go and maps from the old world, the dwarf realms and all this sort of stuff. $59.50 Canadian. And also in order to play you had to either get the book, this is the rule book from Island of Blood, or buy this for $90 Canadian with taxes. Both of these with taxes. And on this side we have our brand new Age of Sigmar PDFs. These are free from Games Workshop. So here's the Age of Sigmar rules. Look, it's only 4 pages. Wow, what are they doing? Here's our War Scrolls. Now I printed all this off. So you're probably looking at, I don't know, 2 cents a page. But the thing about this is I didn't need to print it off. I could have only printed off the one War Scroll here. This is Dwarf Thunderers. So I would have brought those 4 pages from the rule book, if you want to call it a book, and the Thunderers, 5 pages, as opposed to all that over there from 8th, which cost me $140 plus, as opposed to 2 cents, 10 cents. So now I'm going to play 8th edition. So before I even begin the game, I have to make an army selection. And here's the army selection summary table. You must always include at least 3 non-character units plus 1 lord or hero to be your general. Well, I only have Dwarf Thunderers, so I guess I can't play. Well, that's game. No, wait a minute. I have to buy a lord and or a hero. And then I have to buy some core units. Special, don't necessarily need it. Neither did you need rare, but it sure does make for a good army. And if I'm going to play 2,000 points, well, I think I'd better take some of this. Yeah. Age of Sigmar. Before the conflict begins, rival warlords gather their most powerful warriors. In order to play, you must first muster your army from the miniatures in your collection. Hey, I got a unit of dwarf warriors, or thunderers. I guess I could use those. Armies can be as big as you like. Oh, I have one unit, so that's as big as I like. And you can use as many models from your collection as you wish. Well, I got 20, so I'll use those. The more units you decide to use, the longer the game will last and the more exciting it will be. Typically, a game with around 100 miniatures per side will last for about an evening. So if I have 100, it's going to be all night. Well, that's pretty cool. What about my opponent? Well, in a game as detailed and wide-ranging as Age of Sigmar, there may be times when you are not sure exactly how to resolve a situation that has come up during play. When this happens, have a quick chat with your opponent and apply the solution that makes most sense to you both, or seems the most fun. So, Trevor, how do you feel about just fielding some dwarf warriors? Yeah, I think that would be a good idea, but I think you meant to say thunderers, didn't you? Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Thunderers. Play our thunderers against each other. Okay, so here we are with 8th edition. So, what do I have? I have thunderers here. So, hang on a sec. What do my models look like? There's one. So, he's got a handgun and he's got a buckler there, little shield. So, what does that mean? So, unit size 10 plus. Okay. Equipment, hand weapon, dwarf handgun, heavy armor. Ancestral grudge, relentless, resolute shield wall, which I'll describe later. May upgrade one thunderer to a veteran. So each model is 12 points. So I have 20. So here we go in the calculator. 12 times 20. 240. That unit is 240 points. May upgrade a thunderer to a veteran for 10 points. So I got one of those, so plus 10. 250 points. Musician and standard bearer, 10 and 10. So plus 20. 270 points. Tire unit may take shields 1 point per model. Oh, gotta do this again. So 13 times 20. 260 plus 30 for the command. 290 points. 290 points. There's our 290 point unit. So in a 500 point game, that would be over half in that one unit. Just saying. Dwarf Thunderers, Age of Sigmar. Let's see what we got here. Well, buckler, thunderer. So, same thing. Closed my book over here, so we have to find the thunderers. Thunderers. Unit of thunderers, there's 10 or more models. Hey, that's just like in 8th. They go to war with a handgun. Thunderers can bludgeon foes in close combat using gun butts. And some of the thunderers also are equipped with dwarf bucklers. Cool. What's the point cost? Nothing. I just put them in because it's... First, muster your army from the miniatures in your collection. Big as I like. 20. Well, we're trying to match 28th to 20 Sigmar. So that's pretty even. And then they get... Oh, they can take a runic icon, which 8th couldn't, which has an effect on a 5 or 6. They can dispel spells that target that unit. Or a clan banner, they can... if you fail a battle shock test for a unit that has clan banner, have the numbers of models that flee rounding up. Oh, and there's their bucklers. Oh, they can do a shield wall instead of running or charging. Oh, they got a drummer. He can do something cool too. Sound the advance. Makes them move extra 4 inch. The only thing that a drummer musician could do in 8th was get you to reform. A swift reform. Or maybe tie up combat res. The veteran gives me 1 extra to hit. That's the same in 8th. And standard bearers can choose their standards now. They couldn't do that in 8th. So that's a big advantage for me anyway. Going back to 8th. Dwarf handgun. The handguns used by the Dwarf Thunderers feature many improvements over their cruder firearms used by other races, including rifle barrels and more reliable firing mechanisms. Range 24, strength 4, armor piercing, which means it drops the armor save by 1. Dwarf crafted, which means it doesn't get a modifier to stand and shoot. And a move or fire. Now that's a key thing, move or fire. That means my model can either move or shoot. He has to decide what he's going to do. And the dwarf pistol, range 12, strength 4. Armor piercing, dwarf crafted, quick to fire, which means he could move with a pistol and fire. However, my dwarves are limited to having just the champion can carry a pistol. So that is kind of a disadvantage, I think. Anyway. Age of Sigmar. Okay, here's your dwarf handgun. Range of 16, so it's not shooting as far. It has 1 attack. It hits on a 4-up. It wounds on a 3-up. A rend, -1. That goes toward enemy's armor save. Reduces it by 1. Damage 1. Pistol's 8 inches. Tax 2. 4+, 3+, rend, -1. Oh, gun butts. You can use these in melee as well. There's their profiles. Any other restrictions? No. That's kind of a plus.